Tell me a fact, and I will learn. Tell me a truth, and I will believe. But tell me a story, and it will live in my heart forever. For the past 8 years, it has been my opportunity to direct a nonprofit organization called the Utah Women's Walk, a project dedicated to celebrating and telling the life stories of Utah women from all walks of life who have made significant contribution to life in the state of Utah. Many of these women are similar to those in this room, educated, accomplished, leaders in their fields, and highly recognizable. Some of the stories of the women are women in common roles who have dedicated their full time to the care and nurturing of children and families in Utah, and who eschew even a hint of recognition. Each of the stories provide insight into ways in which Utah women from the past and present have contributed to building families, communities, the workplace for the greater good of all, locally, statewide, nationally, and even from a global perspective. Many of the 70 interviews that we have conducted thus far have been done by university or Utah Valley University students from the American Studies Department, who have chosen a woman to interview from their own fields of study. Testing a more recent postmodern movement in ethnography and folklore and anthropology, referred to as reflexive or reciprocal ethnography, I have observed that oftentimes students become active participants in the process of interviewing and studying the life of another. Their own lives are implicated and transformed in remarkable ways. In each of the interviews, Utah women have been asked what advice they would give to other Utah women. I would like to share with you now a few brief video clips that I believe particularly pertain to Utah women in higher education.
You can. You know, I had a former colleague say she has a granddaughter who's maybe going to go on for a PhD, and she said, master's degree's enough already. I said, don't say that. If she wants to go on, have her go on and go on and go on. Get the most education you can. Absolutely. Because it opens new doors. Education at certain levels provides certain opportunities, other levels, more opportunities. Go for it.
I think the women that I have worked with over the years know how to get things done in collaborative ways, in ways that bring people together, that don't worry about who gets the credit. The most important thing is to make something happen in a positive, to have a positive effect. And so I would say look for the opportunities to work, certainly with all members of the community, but with other women on those causes or initiatives or issues that you think are important. And to not be afraid to reach across. If there's someone that's really good in politics, to not be afraid to work with a person who's in dance, and vice versa. So that you, in the same way that I value interdisciplinary work, which is one of the things I've loved about being at UVU, is I've been able to work across discipline boundaries to enrich my understanding of my own discipline as well as introduce other people to my discipline. I think that can happen in the community, so that you cross-fertilize and you have those perspectives that inform each other.
My personal advice are for young women, and especially Native American women, is to learn about your culture. If you don't have a complete understanding of your tribal history or traditions or your songs or celebrations, take the time to learn about that and build that strong foundation for yourself. And as you pursue and go forward in life, my most favorite thing and advice is to pursue education. Education to me is really the true gift that you can give yourself as well as to your family. Because when you have a good education, it can never be taken away from you. And it can be one that can take you to many places throughout the world. As a young girl growing up on the reservation, I never had any idea that I would be able to travel the world beyond my little reservation. Never imagined that I could find myself in the snowy areas of Siberia and Russia, or the farthest part of Alaska, or the northwestern territory of the Yukon. But those are places that I've been able to go and connect with people. And with education, you can do the same, and you can come back and help yourself and your people to be the best that they can be. And you can be your own hero and a mentor to others that are also on that path to education.
Always ask questions. Nobody's going to think you're dumb because you ask questions. But so often, if you just would ask questions in the first place, you'd save yourself and everybody else a lot of time and aggravation. So I think that's part of it. I'm a real one for asking questions, and I always say, I don't know, I don't understand, I don't know what you mean. And then, you know, I don't think anybody thinks I'm dumb because I say that. I just want to know more, and I want to be able to do the best job I possibly can in the least amount of time, with the least amount of corrections need to be made, and I think that's one way to do it.
And learn to speak up for yourself, even when other people are around you and they might not like what you have to say. And it's not that you're going to say something negative, it's that you're going to speak up and let your voice be heard. Don't let anybody trample your voice. You are a gift on this earth. You are what helps this world run.
The first thing that came to mind was always look on the bright side of life. I love to laugh, and I think, you know, there are so many serious things in life, and I think it's important to really, really live a life of significance and to make a difference wherever you can, and to do it with gratitude and with a happy heart, and that idea of looking on the bright side of life is something that really, really does impact people's lives. Because when you live your life, when your heart is full of gratitude, then there's not room for sadness and self-pity and you know, kind of the negativity.
Well, we've heard some great advice for women in higher education, especially those who are seeking for inspiration to be leaders. Juxtaposed with the research of the Utah Women's Walk Project is an artistic expression that I'd like to give you a little sample of right now. At the completion of the research, the Utah Women's Walk Project will be presented in an outdoor garden walk exhibit, beginning in the beautiful Rose Garden at Thanksgiving Point in Lehi, Utah, featuring sculpture, architectural signage, and recorded information about the women's lives. The Utah Women's Walk centerpiece bronze statue entitled Connection by Utah sculptor Ben Hammond symbolizes the connectedness of women across generations, as well as the diversity of women in Utah. The sculpture is intended to be a reminder of how, despite divergent roles, women can feel supported, sustained, inspired, and encouraged by becoming aware of the remarkable stories of exceptional Utah women since 1847. The upward cylindrical motion, depicted by the interweaving of arms and bodies, suggests how women who stand in awareness of the notable lives of other women from the past as well as the present can move forward and achieve new heights in their own fields of pursuit. As I stated in the beginning, tell me a fact and I will learn. Tell me a truth and I will believe. But tell me a story and it will live in my heart forever. The Utah Women's Walk is a project dedicated to telling and celebrating the life stories of women in Utah. And the more I read and study about the lives of these women, I know that their stories, like your own stories, have the power to influence and change all of us. Thank you.